What happens in Israel affects Jewish people everywhere. It's true today, and it was true in 1967 when Marco Gabbai's life changed forever.
We came out from the precinct. There was outside, like Times Square, thousands of people waiting for us because they spread the rumor that we are Israeli prisoners.
Marco was not an Israeli prisoner. He had never even been to Israel. He was a Jewish man in his early 20s whose family had been living peacefully in Egypt.
In 1967 was the big war. I saw a few weeks before how they were parading the streets, the Egyptian army. Thousands of tanks were rolling down the streets, and they were getting prepared to attack Israel.
Marco was born in Cairo in 1944 as World War II was coming to an end. For the most part, Egyptian Jews were not impacted by the Holocaust despite the German army's best efforts. But persecution would later come for Egyptian Jews right at their doorstep. Even though Israel gained statehood in 1948, the fight to remain independent was not over. In 1967, the Six-Day War broke out when Egypt, Syria, and Jordan attacked Israel. Jewish men all across Egypt, including teenagers, were arrested.
And we didn't know what was going on, and they were bringing some more Jews. As the time passed by, more Jews were being arrested and brought into that cell. At night, they changed the shift. A new officer took over, and this guy was very, very bad. He was very mean, and he would beat them up.
That war ended in just 6 days, with Israel, a tiny startup nation, soundly defeating its attackers and gaining land, including the Gaza Strip from Egypt and the West Bank from Jordan. The war was over, but it was just the beginning of Marco's nightmare.
They put 2 rows of soldiers that we had to walk between them, and they were beating us up, punching us while we were walking outside.
Marco and his 3 brothers, Joseph, David, and Albert, were rounded up and brought to a concentration camp. Their father, Ephraim, had passed away before the war.
When we got there, they shaved our head and they told us to wear those uniforms. And they made us run all around the prison, and they were beating us.
Marco and 3 of his brothers spent more than 3 years in Egyptian concentration camps, the prime of their lives stolen from them solely because of the religion they were born into. After liberation, Marco and his brothers reunited with his mom and 2 sisters, eventually making their way to France, then Israel, and then the United States. There were 4 other brothers who had fled Egypt before the war and survived. Marco went on to marry Madeline, his wife of nearly 50 years. Together, they have 3 children and 12 grandchildren.
The only thing I'd really regret that we had a very nice time in Egypt, and we had all my uncles, my aunts, my dads together in Egypt. But to see that everyone had to leave. One goes to Brazil, the other one goes to Canada, the other one goes to France. And we got all spread out, and it broke the family. We were so close to each other.
His family scattered across the globe, but still he couldn't be prouder of the beautiful new family he created.
My best time that I have is when I see my grandchildren. As a matter of fact, it was his bar mitzvah, my grandson, this past Sunday. And this Saturday he'll be reading the Sefer Torah. So I said maybe.
During this interview at Marco's home in Gravesend, Brooklyn, his lifelong friend David stopped by to show his love and support.
This is my best friend here, David Mehani.
David, who was also imprisoned for being Jewish, is fearful that too many people today don't know anything about the Jewish persecution that occurred in Egypt.
We always say never again. And it happens again. October 7 happened again. Terrible. We need to be always aware. We need our children to have history, to know where their family comes from. Because without history, the future is not complete.
This is my mom.
It's a future that Marco has also worried about, but he always chose to remain hopeful and not let his past define him.
I don't feel any anger, I don't feel any hatred. I think everything is designed by God.
I'm devastated to share that Marco passed away on Sunday, February 16th, just 3 days after my interview with him. He told me about mounting health issues, but his mind was so sharp and his inner light so bright. I felt a little guilty and undeserving to spend so much time with this remarkable man in his final days. But his family says that capturing his story just in the nick of time was a gift they're eternally grateful for. Thank you, Marco, for your warmth, your willingness to open up, for surviving, and on a lighter note, for the delicious Sephardic pastries we shared the day we met. A true testament to your generous nature and huge heart. We will never forget you. In Gravesend, Brooklyn, Dana Arschin, HMTC.